Hey, what's going on, Christian preppers? So, as you probably guessed, what's in my bucket is honey. And this is the unsung hero of the prepping community. And I do not know. It is just one of life's anomalies why people don't talk about honey. Like literally, is one of the first things that you should buy if you're prepping. It's just an incredible natural substance. It's probably absorbed into the body for natural energy, converted into energy probably quicker than any other substance on the planet. I just can't, and I keep saying this about certain products, because I do really get sold. I do the research and I find out on some products, it's like, wow, like why didn't I know that? Like, why didn't I know that about honey? Like, why did I not know for so much of my life that honey never goes bad? Raw organic honey does not go bad. It doesn't matter how many times we crack this lid, scoop some out, put the lid back on, it just doesn't go bad. It's God's gift. It's God's gift to humanity, and when it comes to prepping, there is no better substance. So 80,000 calories in this bucket. Compare that. This is a 5-gallon bucket. If you have any 5-gallon buckets of long-term freeze-dried food in your home, go and compare how many calories that they have compared to this bucket of 80,000 calories that never goes bad. So as far as being able to share with your neighbors or any kind of a crap hitting the fan, significant event type thing that happens, like just to have this honey and be able to share with people, give them a cup here and a cup there, whatever the case is, you're just giving them a cup full of calories that can make the difference between them not getting enough calories that day and them getting enough calories that day. To have these 5-gallon buckets and put like a few of them away, my goal is I'm going to try to get 10 of these away. I'm going to try to put away 10 of these and have 800,000 calories on hand. That's just incredible. Now, can you survive in just honey alone? There's honey dats out there and there's different things out there that you can do, but honey is not a standalone food. You do need other things to get those vital amino acids and proteins that you need into your body. But as far as honey being a supplementary food, it's got to be, in my opinion, the number one supplementary item that you have to have in your pantry. Now, we talk a lot about survival type stuff, and getting this stuff and having the gear and having your pack and your medical kit, your IFAK, whatever it is, and all this kind of stuff. But here's the really truly brilliant thing about honey, and a lot of this research that I'm getting into for survival type foods. I'm kind of like thinking I need to be eating this stuff right now. Like I don't need to wait for some disaster. And honey is one of those items that absolutely we can be having a spoonful of honey today. It's just, so honey is a bioactive substance. So it feeds your cells, it feeds the tissues, it feeds the organs, and it pretty much feeds everything in your body. And it's just got this boost. It's just got this boost. It's antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antibacterial. So those properties in it that help it to last indefinitely are the same things that when you put it into your body, it helps your body fight these things that might be in your system. So literally just having a spoonful of honey a day. And when it comes to raw organic honey, I definitely, even though it tends to be more expensive, and in some situations it's a lot more expensive, especially the smaller you go, when you go into really small containers like this Manuka honey that typically only comes from the Manuka bush that grows in New Zealand, this thing is really expensive. I think I was like $25 for this wee tub. And I don't actually like the taste of Manuka honey, so I don't really eat it that much. I just kind of bought this one for this video. But when it comes to medicinal purposes, if you find yourself getting sick, ill, or anything kind of going on and you want to mix this with something, there might not be a better substance that's found in nature on the planet than Manuka honey when it comes to some kind of medicinal purposes. So I'm going to try to go through the list here, but you've got, so honey and cinnamon, honey and lemon, honey and turmeric, honey and ginger, apple and garlic, and you had apple vinegar cider. So you've got just all these different things that you can take this with that have different individual remedies for certain ailments that you might have. We're all familiar with just simply honey and lemon to soothe the throat, so to speak, right? So honey and milk, it's not even on my list here, but honey and milk, a warm glass of milk with some honey stirred in helps you sleep at night. So there's just so many medicinal purposes. And this is what we need to do as preppers. We need to get back to the origin of a lot of the natural foods, get away from as much of this processed food as we possibly can. And you know, a lot of the stuff that you're getting in the freeze-dried sort of buckets and containers, I've already said before, I have a bunch of this stuff. I'm not against it. But what I really would love to do is to learn how to live off the land more, so there's more sort of subsistence living. You know, so for instance, just using Douglas, we have so many Douglas fir trees in this area. I have a bunch of them on my property, and just the needles of the Douglas fir tree, just a handful of them in a cup brought to the simmer and drinking that, you're just getting a powerhouse dose of vitamin C. You know, it's just, and when you mix that with things like honey and rice and beans, and you start to then layer some very essential items, now you can thrive. So you're not just surviving, but you're thriving. And here's what's crazy about it is, if we do this right, we'll actually get healthier. We'll actually get healthier in a survival situation, or whatever, you know, if there's some kind of an interruption in the food supply, whatever the case is, we'll actually get healthier. So here's my point. Why wait? Like, why wait until some disaster that comes along? Why not just start using this now? Why not? I've started having a spoonful of this raw organic honey. So every day I make sure I take a spoonful of it, because I want those benefits. I want to get that stuff into my system and get that help. So I've got a few different brands here. You can kind of see this is also from Kirkland. This is raw. It says a Northwest raw unfiltered honey. So unfiltered is just, you're going to see it's a little bit cloudier. What's kind of interesting is that unfiltered one is not much different in color. I'll just hold it to the camera so you can kind of see it. It's a little cloudier. So this stuff is a little darker, a little deeper in color than the raw unfiltered. But the true unfiltered, true raw honey, like this is what you're looking at. So what I want to show you is inside, when you get this sort of wax crust at the top, but then you get it, see, it's solidified. So this is, it keeps out the oxygen. So taking this cap off, putting it on, taking it off, putting it on, this oxygen does not penetrate into the honey at all. It may stay around the surface, and all it might do is create maybe a bit of a crust on the surface. That's it. So it's just incredible to get. I'm trying to create partnerships with local beekeepers so that I can offer this to people. So I think I've worked out a pretty good deal with the local beekeeper to be able to sell people 5-gallon buckets of honey at a very reasonable price. Reach out to me in my comments if you're interested in getting some. But just really consider, do the research, look into it. There is no downside to having 5-gallon buckets of honey stored away in a cool, dry place and keeping at least one of them in your pantry. Even if you just open the lid and put it into a smaller container that goes in your pantry, use it. Use it. This is absolutely one of those survival foods that you can use. And then as you just work yourself through your 5-gallon bucket, always have a backup, but then replace it. Use it, replace it. And by buying it in bulk, you're actually saving money. But you're getting these health benefits. So, hey, let me know what you think. You know, please consider getting raw organic honey, supporting a local beekeeper, getting this business. I did leave out one thing. My wife, she gets seasonal allergies. So one of the things that I found out is we had heard about the raw organic honey that's local from the local plants. So in order to make 1 pound of honey, the bees in that hive are going to visit anywhere between 2 to 4 million plants. So they're visiting everything in your area. So whatever you're allergic to, whatever pollen, these bees have probably visited it, which means that part of that pollen is in the honey. So if you were to take it almost like you would take a vaccine, you build up your system. If you start taking it about 6 weeks before you get into that season, so in general, I'm just going to make sure that I'm actually going to have my wife just with me take a spoonful every day. But if you start taking it, say in January, then come March, April, when we start getting some of the pollen and some of that stuff that gives people the symptoms, what they're saying is you're going to find that the symptoms are significantly reduced. And in some cases, you don't have the symptoms at all. The problem is what my wife used to do is she'd start taking it when she was feeling the symptoms and was saying like, oh, well, this doesn't really help. Until we found out, no, you're actually supposed to take it in advance, and it helps your system to build up a tolerance so that you don't have any effect. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal for people, especially if you're trying to learn how to survive in some kind of a grid down situation and you get really, really significant allergies and you're out and it's planting season and you're outside and you're trying to get your garden going and whatnot. So maybe your local raw honey is what makes the difference and keeps you healthy, where you have no interruptions in your planting season. So thanks for checking out my channel, and hope this is good information, and God bless you guys.